El mundo puede detenerse. Tus sueños no. Elige bien. Elige UPB.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Keynote Speeches. As you know, Keynote Speeches is a series of talks in English organized by the Language Center. Today, we have a very special guest. He is Professor Juan Carlos Godoy Pinilla, an industrial designer from Universidad Industrial de Santander. And he is also a project manager specialist from Universidad Piloto de Colombia. Besides, he holds a master's degree in educational technology from Universidad de Santander. And since 2016, he has been the director of the graphic design faculty of Universidad Pontificia Bolivariana in Bucaramanga. Let's welcome Professor Godoy Pinilla with his interesting talk, The World is a Brand. At the end of his presentation, we are going to have some time for questions. So beware of asking the questions you need to do. Welcome to Keynote Speeches.
Okay, hi everybody. I really like to thanks to Language Center and the university for this opportunity to talk to you. Today I'm gonna tell you a personal talk about brands, as the things that I think that a brand is, and it's as I say, it's a personal view of some thoughts about a brand and the meaning of brand. Okay, and I want to say thank you to Javier, who is the communication department of the university. He's in the back, helping us with the technical things and the technical support. And I have to tell you also that we are in the 5th anniversary. We have been 5 years of teaching students in graphic design, and it's very grateful for us to have been for these 5 years given the opportunity for our people who are students to study graphic design. Well, the slides of this speech or this talk, it's a designer, as we have here a header, we have a title here, we have some information about the concepts, some I'm gonna travel through history and my opinions, and there is a glossary here that says there are translations for some terms and words that maybe you don't have the meaning, and because you don't have to do everything. It has a graphic here on the right side, as you understand how is the slides giving the information. Well, let's start with the human brain. The human brain, it's we can say it's divided, but it's a distinct regions that have been said by Paul MacLean in the 1960s. And he said that we have 3 distinct regions. The first is the neomammalian or rational brain, and it's located in the neocortex. That it's manage our logic and analytical thinking, you know. And this is very interesting when we talk about brands, because now brands are it's a topic that it's widely investigated, and it involves psychology, it involves neuroscience and other disciplines. The second is the paleomammalian or emotional brain, that is called also the limbic system, and it works with the sensations. It works with also with the language and the feeling that we have in our body. And the third is a reptilian or primal brain, and it's called basal, and it's related with instinct and protection. It is the most primitive part of our brain that it has to be with the protection. It has to be when we feel fear. It has to be when we are so aware about the dangers of our environment. And this is the location of the three sections. You have here the neocortex that we have here. This is the rational logic, yes. And they have the emotion. This is the limbic system that is located here at the bottom of the brain. And it has the reptilian that is it's located near to that, but it is more in context with the tail. So what we have here, we've got some analogies. The head, and it has to be with the neocortex. It's a set of logic, intellect. It is our conscious mind that directs 90% of our behaviors. It has very interesting when we talk about brands. And the second is the gut. It has to be with our stomach. Yeah, it's got 90% of the body's serotonin involved with mood management. It's producing the gut. Yeah, and the third is the heart that we have related with our emotions. And again, it has to be. It's related with brands. But what is a brand? As American Marketing Association define it as a name, as a term, design, symbol, or any other features that identifies one seller's good or service as distinct from those from other sellers. It's that you know about brands, it's identification. And that identification, it has to be to name things. Yes, if everyone went around to identifying a rose as whatever they want to call it, I can say to another person, what's that rose? And there will be some mass confusion about what rose is that you saw, what rose that you want, and it has to be with the word, because the word is the part of the brand. I'm going to see later how it says the parts of a brand. Then if we return to Greece and Aristotle, one of the main concepts he says the famous son logon echon, and normally is translated as a rational animal. Yeah, when we have rational animals, and I liked the philosophy of Luis Villoro. He was born in Spain, but it's more known as a Mexican philosopher. And he translated that as animal provided with the word. Yeah. And it is very interesting because a word is a symbolic language, and that is how different us from the other animals. And what is the advantage of that? Yeah, what's the advantage of that in this case for us, for branding? It's allowing us to relate with things. Yeah, this is a relationship with things. It has to be with words, and it's an analogy, or it goes with brand. Because brand, it's a relationship that we can do with things, with products. And we'll see. What is that relationship with reality? Yeah, that's the words are symbolic, our language, and it is what differentiates us from animals, for other animals. And if I don't have a language, my relationship would be really direct. Yeah, this is a reality that I have. I get close to an apple tree, and I see the tree, and I see the apples there, and I want an apple. And when I see the apple, but and I can say that the relationship with that apple is direct. Yeah, I see the apple. I can see its color. I can see the I'd say the distance that here is very close. But if I take more distance, and as I have a fence like here, so at the reach of the apple, I must relate with identity. So I have to use a word. Yes, and the word allow us to detect ourselves from things and refer to them without counting on the current existence, as said by Luis Villoro. Yes, so brands as words take place of objects, things, products, experiences, and people. So in the ancient history, how was the beginning, as the born of brands? Yeah, and so the born of brand was said, what are the products that are traded by sea, by boats? And they go from a country to another, and they carry things. They carry special things. Yeah, for example, the silk from China, the whiskey from Ireland and Scotland, and the essence. You have the condiments. You have the to have or to be a more way of cooking. Yeah, it was the essence, and they carried the traders carry them. They when they come to another country and say, "Well, this is a seed from China, this is a whiskey from Ireland, and this is a book from Shakespeare." Yeah, because we have also the person. That what's the brands. The brands related with the quality of things. Yeah, the quality in the names is related with quality of the things. Indeed, what's the beginning? What's a very very interesting. Another beginning of brands, I'd say, to put marks in objects. This is an example for this in this case that we have the archaeologists trace the concept of branding back to marks on 5,000 years old in Babylonia and Greek pottery charts. And relics from the medieval age show markers, symbols, serried onto everything from loaves of bread to gold and silver products. Yeah, because they made a product, they wanted to put a mark. They wanted to say, "I did this," or "It belongs to," and they put marks there. Yeah. That beginning in the beginning of the mankind, people began to craft stone tools. And it was when we studied design, we can find that it was a very interesting beginning of the need of the design. Yeah, because design is a need in mankind. We started to do tools, yeah, to make it easy for hunters and the gatherers to bring back praise for us, and say for us, for mankind. And it was an effort for design. 38,000 years ago, the first Dragonaut Lascaux, and he was in France, were drawn. And he were, as a species, first documented our reality. We wanted to document our reality. Yeah, we wanted to say, "I see this, I have this, I am this." Yes, and they go to the walls. and when they go to the walls, I put the walls of Facebook. So we put what we do, what we wanted to see others in those walls that there are now. There's digital walls as Facebook, as Instagram, whatsoever. Yeah, and now it became with the power of symbols. You know, what is a symbol? Yeah, we use a lot of symbols. Yeah, and there were some human expression that must be considered to understand brands. And one of the things is the symbols. Yeah, because a symbol, it's a way that to manufacture meaning about something we are agree to mean something. Yeah, this is a symbol. It's the relationship with the humans that is a community, and say we are a community. We share this, and how do we say towards that we share this? With a symbol. So we put a symbol We say it's a symbol. And those symbols has, in the beginning, were related with God, yeah, because it is a symbol that we believe something. We all, these people believe in this, and we put this symbol to God. And one of the things that ancient people did was Egyptians with the makeup. We're talking about 10,000 years ago. Yeah, then it was not used for beatification. It was used for religious purposes. It was the creation of that is another kind of symbol. So we manufacture meaning around symbol, yeah, and we collectively all agreed on what that symbol means. Yeah, it was the beginning to put some and graphics, but this is more than graphics. And we say, oh, this is more than a graphic, more than a graphic symbol. That's what brands are today. So brands took that communicate effort or behavior of the human mankind to get it that and incorporate it. So those were our first brands. Our first attempt to manufacture meaning around something that did not empirically exist. Yeah, it was a creation. It was an artificial creation. The consequence of use symbols. Then started as a sign of belonging, but people didn't all agree that those symbols meant the same for everybody. They say, for us, and we believe in this, and this is our symbol for that. Yeah, and so as a species, we started to fight. Yeah, we started to fight because we didn't share the same meanings, and those meanings were related with symbol. And yes, it is very semiotic. We see semiotics in design. Our students see that, and it has to be understood that we fight, and it was. And the first was religious wars. Yeah, it was about the religion, and it's still now. There are some people that fight today against one another because of religion, and we couldn't agree on the agreement that Oder had about what those symbols meant. Yes, we couldn't do that, so we divided. And then in those words, they identify as flags. They use flags. Armies use flags to say particular interesting because there are no uniforms at the first time they created at that time. So we need to identify one from another and say we have flags. We are here, and flags were used to signify where the battlefield we belonged. Yeah, as a mark, as a symbol, as a brand. And flags have colors, and colors are very important in branding. Then we have the Crest and Shields to belong. So they say that it began with the families. It began with the monarchy. And they have the crest and the shields. They have the words. Yeah, they have but they have a meaning, and they have a symbol. Yeah, and now that we have in football, in football teams, you have and what we see is an heraldic way to relate those as in the past, and these crest and shields that we have in the monarchy. Yeah, we see the design of those shields of the football teams. We found the same. We found words. We found the shapes that is related with shields. Yeah, with the word. On these words and on the things. Let's go 1,000 years ago, because this was the beginning of the brand word. Yeah, the word bronda were used in the Anglo-Saxon poem Beowulf, and literally means to mark or to destroy by fire. Yeah, remember Beowulf? Maybe you see there are video games, there are movies with this poem, ancient poem. And then cattle ranchers appropriated the word to use as a symbol. two of ownership on a cattle. Yeah, on cattle. They say this is mine, and I'm going to brand. Yeah, they're going to brand my animals, and they change a brand. So brand were related the first times as to mark with fire, and it still today. Cattle ranchers use fire to put a symbol that represents a family or a business or a company or a farm. You have to say that this animal is mine and belongs to this farm, and I put a symbol. There are now, in modern ways, a different way to identify. They have a chips. They have a different with technology. They do it differently because we destroy the leather, destroy the skin of the cattle. But it's one of the beginning of the world. And but as I say, I have to put the next slide. People say the word brand with the all west, yeah, to the Marstad Rangers within the livestock. Yeah, it is a view of some symbols there in United States. We feel in that in Texas with all those places that put the highest. You see how put the mark in the livestock. Well, go with I'll leave ahead. So we go fast now. It has 145 years ago. Modern brands were born. Yeah, brands became legally recognized in the United States on January 1st in 1876. 76. And it was a non-American brand in the United States. It was a beverage. This is Bass, and it's a beer. Is an England beer. Yeah, so England beer, but it has the first registration of a brand in the United States that was made in 1876. So it was put that product in some of pictures or art, especially in this picture by Edouard Manet at Folies Berthier in 1882. Remember that Edouard Manet was impressionist, was an oil canvas. But you see here, there in the table that put all the brass ale, the brass beer here, and Picasso did that in this picture. And Braque, that is another cubist painter. They put what one could say this is the first brand product placement that we can find in history in the world, in the history of brands. So brands sustain characteristics. It was on the meaning of the brands. Yeah, brands were first created as a need because products travel around the world. They travel from one place to another. We see it has been for many years. As we remember, I told about the trade, the world trade, and they have to say, okay, this is the product that I do, and you have my product there. So how I identify that I did this and I have this quality, and you will see that in that place. So I put a brand, yes, and a brand then offer protection in quality in products everywhere. So you have here, there are some brands that that they understood that, and they do it in past, and they do it in present. There was another, it's in the 1920s, it was a brand that were anthropomorphization, and it's related with a rhetoric figure. There is a personification that consists of being human characteristics to an object or a non-human being. Yeah, it was the second wave of brands were most copycat brands, but we see now it is used today also with this anthropomorphism that and it's used. Anthropologists from around the world speak of the existence of universal models and canons of beauty, because they have certain similar elements in the Cortic art since the Upper Paleolithic in all over the world. I permit to read what I put here. So there are some forms that has to be put in history and Paleolithic pieces, and they are in our minds. They are in that brain that we see in the first slide, that in the reptilian. So we have some forms that are insert in our brain, in our memory, that people makes brands use because they know that we have that ancient things. And the one of that ancient is morphology or anatomical morphology, because they all had a simple common element, that are the shapes and observing the spirals or concentric cycles from that time, the preference for simplicity. The preference for simplicity that is used by brands. Now, but this is very old. Order and symmetry predominates for close form and the projection of acute angles. Again, acute angles, because acute angles means a danger. These rounded shapes coincided with what Konrad Lorenz, maybe you know Konrad Lorenz, but perhaps psychologists know him, established as the anatomical morphology that aroused affection from adults towards children or puppies. It's called neoteny or neotenia in Spanish. So it's the shape of our heads when we put some anatomical position or the shapes that is that is like babies, and it was used for brands. And there are some famous cases like the Geico case in neuromarketing, that they change the logo, they change the brand, and they put this lizard with the big eyes, that the big eyes relate with that anatomical that I told in the preceding slide. So they look as a baby, and they look at the baby, it wants us to safety, confidence, and it has to be put in products also, like that you see at the Mini Cooper. There are many examples that use this, and it has been very studied by psychologists or marketing people. And 27 years ago, the world became technologized. So maybe some of the students that we have here didn't live that. Some yes, and it was the first time when we started to enter for this technological way of living. Yes, and it was for example, it was one of the earliest Amazon websites, and it was very very simple. It's not colored or has all the design that we have here. Yeah, so the internet for us was slow. We have to use the phone line. It was to hold, and everybody in the house and say, hey, I'm using, I'm connected to internet. Let me. Oh, I needed the telephone. So it was what happened that time. So 20 years ago, in 2001, 2004, we started to feel a new form of living when they became all this technologization and these technology products and sorry. And we have here, for example, we have the iPod. So we started a new way of living that is isolationism. This is difficult. It's a difficult word we have here. We had experiencing, or we had experimenting a sense of individualism. Yeah, it's a new era of individualism that we didn't have before. We weren't that. We were collective. We were as communities. We talk to each other. I see you in your eyes. We have a new way of living. Yeah, and the iPod began with that new life. So it also changed our happiness in the way that we don't resonate with others. Yes, as James Scott, I'm gonna read. A communication professor at Rutgers University attributed the iPod's popularity to a trend in American culture toward withdrawing from the public sphere or the public culture into one private space. But I have my private space where you can have complete control and your entertainment. Yeah, over your entertainment. The iPod psychologically depopulates social space for you. It increases isolation and anonymity. Yes, and we have here with our phones now. Yes, because a sense of isolationism. And then began the social media. So we have today, so at that time when we experimented that isolation, that we needed to connect to each other. And then appeared the social media. Yeah, this was an avalanche of new brands that we created, that have been created, and we use every day. And it has a that desire to be connected, because that's what we like to be, we need as a human. I'm sorry for the phone. Okay, the avalanche continues. So one time, what's those brands were created, and now we share with a real person in real life. So we can do it now with some new brands, you know, as Uber and Airbnb, that change the way we live. They change that they say you have the power. Yeah, we are big companies, but the consumer has the power. You have something to say, we will listen to you. And some say that people say it's addicted to our phones, but we are addicted at the feeling of connectiveness, to have the control of our environment. That's the real addiction. Yes, that's the real addiction that we have today, and this is fueled by our phones. And what does it have to be with brands? So this connection have opened the branding, we know it, and brands were owned by the corporation. Yeah, where brands were owned by the corporation made the brands, the corporation gave us, the corporation bombards us with publicity, with advertisement, with marketing, and push down the consumer, marketing, and designer. But it changed, and now, because now branding has become democratized. Yeah, so brands can be created by anyone and can be checked by everyone. Yeah, so this is a top-down equation. It changed the way that we relate with others and with brands. And corporation pushed down the brands to consumer, to people, and now have, maybe you have known about the consumers plus produce it with a prosumer. This is a new concept. Yeah, it changed the way that we are doing now. So what are the people that are talking now? These influencers. Yes, the consumer has the power. The brands, they are getting closer to these people. They're not saying, I am the big one and I put on you. I need you that I can be bigger, or that I can be big as I want, or as I believe that I am. Yes. So one of the things that it's very interesting about this is what what the people do for creation of these brands. And brands as movements. Yes, it's the social movements of people that identifies with a symbol. We talk about that symbol, we talk about semiotic, and say we are here, we're going to we need to say this, and we need to say this is a group of people, and we want to say this. We want to say this as a brand. Yes, and brands as movement. Yeah, and it moves a lot of up to 35 years for 150 million of Americans to own a TV set. It took 7 years for 150 million people to own a cellular phone, and it took 2 months for 150 million people to engage to a movement. Yeah, because of the social media that we have, and we have the power on the people, and it's happening very rapidly. Yeah, so fast we can't and stop it. Maybe we understand it. Yeah. And it is a profound manifestation of the human spirit. It's what David Millman, and he's a writer, design educator, artist, brand consultant, also the podcast designers where I like to follow that. And you can see it in internet. And there was another uh, thought about Malcolm Gladwell. He said, never before have we had this kind of communication technologies in the hands of those who have the greatest desire to innovate. And it comes to innovation. Yeah, it comes to innovation because we want to innovate. The word says that we need to innovate. The companies say that we are in the innovation era, that we want to innovate. We understood that the change, it's the way of living now. And who do you think that those who do you think are these innovators? Who do you think are these innovators? These innovators are us. Yeah. And branding is manufactured meaning. Yeah, it's brands is an artificial construction. It's a symbol that those symbols that they design the word and we relate with another. The things that we don't have direct um, approach, yeah, and born from our ideas. Manufactured idea meaning is the communication of that meaning is, and it's design. Yeah, it's very interesting, interesting for us because we're designers and we love this. So, and branding became as belonging. Yeah, to be a part of a group, to belong to a tribe, to a religion, to a family, and it's a human behavior that brands understand it. Yes, so they say, hey, it's not only a brand; it's a way of living. It's a belonging to something. Is that you say that I'm different from others, and I belong to this tribe, and I say I have the symbols, I have this flag, I have this, and this. This is ancient. This is very human. That's why I started with the history. And it's an intention to communicate. People love, as I said, people need to communicate with others. They don't do not only talking. They say with also expressions like makeup, clothing, tattoos, hair, and so on. And how we find here that brands are connected with this. Yeah, the brands know that they have to see how people started to create their own environments, their own living, their own brands, and it's very profound. Now, it's the only species in the planet that do these kind of things. And brand reflects culture because the condition of branding now reflects the condition of our culture. Remember that that I say the brain, yeah, that we have here. This is an iceberg that maybe you have seen in other disciplines, which is very useful. Then you have some that it's a branding that we can see visual identity, the key messaging that we share vocabulary telling our brand story, but we have in the bottom we have the culture, and the culture is related with environments. It's a very good vision. It's a very good core values. But what you believe as a company and how you live with all values, yeah, and what's investing on the growth and development of the people, and is how we relate with the world and the reality, because we can say some things, but we feel things that are inside that maybe reptilian brain. Yeah, and it has to be how treat each other. It has to be how we level each other, and it has to be how we talk to each other. Yes, and brands now that they how we designate meaning through language and symbols and words. Yeah. Um, some say that a corporation are bad, that they have bad objectives with people, but as I say that there are no bad corporations, there are bad people. Yeah, that people that works in corporation. The companies don't put products because of an altruistically desired one, and expecting and hoping that people will buy them. If you don't buy the products, so they remove from the shelves. Yeah, they remove from the shelves. We have a lot of variety of products that we can buy when we can compare with others. It's a word now here. Yeah, some of the words here that made by marketing. Yes, because they compete with these shelves that the supermarket. When you see it has to be with the order of the eye that I see. There are some special position in the shelves, for example, what you see with the height of my eyes. Yeah. And so we have too much power in determining what is the soul. Because if we refuse to buy something, or if we refuse to behave in a way that we feel doesn't further our humanity, then those things won't exist anymore. But we have that power. And brands and companies knows that. It has to seduce us. It has to put us in the way that we can recognize that that product is part of our community, is part of what I am, is part of my culture. Well, there was it's the ending of the speak. It was what are the elements of a brand, but it says, as I say, it was create a brand is a construct of meaning for nothing, and it requires an enormous amount of imagination that we have put in our students. And when I say when I study design, it's be creative. It's not a will. It's mandatory. Yeah. So if you see a brand, you have a logo symbol, a symbol that maybe put it the number one, and then you have a name because I would say we need to name the things, and we have 3 and 4 that it's a tagline that represents what that company does, and we have the claim. The claim is that effort to communicate maybe with a concept that it's related with that culture when I want to put that brand. And brands are like human. You know, when we create brands and we put brands as if it was a person. So brands are becoming human as we create it. We say we have personality. Yeah, we have excitement, competence, sophistication, rudeness, the way that they present, the colors, yeah, and the feeling of that. So this is all for today. This is as I said, it's a personal talk that I said to you about what I think of this brand. I don't know if there are some observations or
Yes, Sergio Andres Serrano says that as we advance in new technologies, we lost the way we communicate with each other, no? Like the consequences of technology, bad use of technology. This is one comment.
yeah.
I find it really special, the concept of branding as a social concept, Juan Carlos, because far from being a concept related to marketing and sales, which we always associate brands to marketing, no, and sales. But
Yes.
this journey that you have made to explain us the concept of branding as a social concept, I find it really interesting.
Yes, I didn't talk about all the same. The people are talking with how is Apple, Coca-Cola, and Nike, and so other. I liked it to put this is a personal understanding that I have to do with brands, and I really always like history when I returned, when I became with the natural things and the philosophical or the semiotic intervention that we have to do to understand what we design or the way that other companies related with the customers. So it has to be with a natural effort and a natural way of communicate as we do with other people and we do with that sign, that those symbols. Yeah, because those are the main side that I see that we have in the past and we have now. That is that what I like to show in this time.
Yes. There is a person saying that maybe has a comment, but you haven't expressed it.
Okay, that's as
Personal
well.
library says, I don't know the name of this person, maybe. If you want to write something about the talk. Yes. Are
There
you
was
seeing
a
the
program.
chat, Juan Carlos?
Yeah, there was a program some
There
years
are,
ago. Let's say
yes.
what a program.
Okay. I just find this very interesting in this program. A person became a brand.
Yes.
This is what this.
Is there a reason why flags only have basic colors? Yes, it was a
Okay.
main reason because they need to identify far away. Yes, and I put a color that is visible. You can see it far away, and this is one of the concepts that we have here. For example, with poster. Yeah, when we see a poster, we see an advertisement in the highway. We have to see with big letters and big amount of color. What's done by flags? Remember that if the flags are used also for communicate. Yeah, because the army do that in boats when they say they are far away. They say there is an ABC with flags. Maybe you don't know, but people who were in the army or were Boy Scout, if you know it. And because flags, we can see far away those colors.
All right.
Yes, but basic colors.
Basic colors, right.
Basic colors.
Okay.
The
And
person became
plain.
a brand, yeah, and advertising himself for people who wanted to harm him, yes. And he got paid by these people just to do what people wanted him to do. Okay, this is really good. We have so a few people today because there are a lot of
Activities.
There are a lot of,
Yes.
we have a lot of activities since AIM, so it has to be recorded. I will use this for my students. I will use it.
Sure. It is a very interesting talk that have changed the concept we have about branding.
Okay, Monica.
Thank you very much.
No, thank to you and for the university, and you know that all the time we help to the language center.
Yes.
And we'd like to see to be here.
All right. Okay.
Is there some literature behind this idea of normal people becoming broken? Well, it's a lot of literature.
Yes.
There's a lot of literature. I can say here some books because I don't have listed, but you find so many information. The terms brands that you have the basic, you can find the basic, but it's changing rapidly. It changes as people change, brands change because brands are always understanding how people change, yeah, and culture change. So it's interesting. I see history, for example, what happened 10 years ago, but now it's different. So it has to be clear that if you read something now, that it is just have passed away because every day is changing. Yeah, but well, I can put a comment after here in the.
We could say that influencers are branding themselves. No, they are brands.
Yeah. They're pulling brands up. They are now one of the prosumer main of the one of the, you say it's a producer and consumer. It was a prosumer.
Prosumer, yes.
Brands are using them. It is now. It happened. It happened in the past. It happened before, so it's happening now. Maybe what happened in the future? We don't know. And the future is next year.
Yes, it
The
is.
future is next year because everything changed so rapidly. And now it's that how is that? And I am not so agree with that because you have an influence. There's an influencer in Instagram, so and this person has a lot of followers, yeah. And I go as a brand and say, oh, talk up to our brands, and I pay for you, and say, but it comes another brand, and he or she does the same. It doesn't look very well because I only speak when somebody pays me, yeah. And brands are understanding that's changing. That is changing now. They began with that, and this is real, really now. And they say, hey, it is not so good that we pay these people to talk about a brand, and in the middle future, in the short future, they are talking about our competitors. It all is made for the money. We say because they follows. Now influencers have to be our own philosophy. Yeah, they have to feel, and they have to be connected with that real. Yeah, because the speech that they do, the things that they do says fake, and brands are understanding this.
Right. Yes. Okay.
Okay, Monica.
Yes.
Everybody, it
Thank you
says
very much.
very personal speaking.
Yes.
For the people who will be
Okay, Juan
I
Carlos.
believe
Yes.
I guess well. MFLWL, personal library, very good, but influencers get paid by corporation, yet not by the consumer. Yeah. We consume their product, yes, as I say, they pay. It's paid by corporation, yeah, the companies and brands. Okay.
Okay. We hope
Okay,
to
see
have
you.
you here again in
Okay.
another opportunity.
Okay, let's see.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much, Juan
Oh,
Carlos.
yeah, in the backstage.
Yes.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
See you, bye.
Okay, thank you.
El mundo puede detenerse. Tus sueños no. Elige bien. Elige UPB.